In the Outlander universe, Claire and Jamie frequently lie a bit, or a lot, if they believe their cause is worthy. Additionally, Claire and Jamie's mothers demonstrate in Blood of My Blood's 4th episode that they are not above lying to protect themselves and those they care about. Julia must return an offering to the faeries after urinating on them with her milk spill in the opening scene of A Soldier's Heart. In a letter to Henry, she describes how she feels her unborn child and how people at this time believe in both God and mysticism. Julia is also beginning to accept this folklore after being taken back in time, as well. As they prepare for the birth of their first child, Julia and Henry are in domestic bliss in the 20th century. And Henry will be pleased with either a boy or a girl. Mrs. Beauchamp, I just want you and the kid to be safe and healthy. I would be the happiest father in the world if I had a little girl. Correct response, my friend. Henry is at the brothel in the past. Before you throw away his good spouse card, keep in mind that he is only there because Madame Una Hay has stated that she has located Julia. She hasn't, of course, and Seema, the kindly-eyed, brown-haired prostitute, does her hardest to keep Henry's business. Although he declines her offer of sex, he does share with her his concerns about discovering Julia employed in such a setting. Brian brings his father a letter from the Grants at Castle Leathers. Although Simon is outraged that Henry sent the letter, Claire's parents may benefit from the fact that a letter written in Henry's handwriting is so familiar to Julia, even if Simon says he'll wipe his ass with the letter. Although the Grants have no intention of breaking Ellen Mackenzie's engagement to Malcolm Grant, this just serves to strengthen Lord Lovat's belief that Ellen is tarnished goods. Since Brian is the man Ellen ran off with, he naturally worries about his suspicions about why her brothers believed she had fled with Malcolm during the gathering. After the tryst in the last episode, Julia arrives and is determined to stay away from Simon at all costs. Who could blame her? She pretends to have a rash by using nettles she collected, which works twice as well because it not only makes Simon skeeve her to touch her but also enables her to travel to the pharmacy to acquire the cure. When Simon requests that Bala chaperone her, Brian intervenes once more to save the day and go with her. Ellen fights with Dougal and Colum at Castle Loach because she is engaged to Malcolm Grant. She wants to go, even though she was only being kind in the previous episode to help her brothers get the leadership. However, as his fiancée, Colum insists that she travel with Malcolm to Inverness for Beltane in 2 months. He cautions that Graham Finlay, the last person to call off an engagement with a Grant, vanished into the heather. To make things worse, Red Jacob's careless spending has left Clan Mackenzie's finances completely depleted. But despite the risk of poverty and murder, Ellen is refusing to back down. The Grants are also threatening Henry Beauchamp. On the day of the quarter, Isaac Grant assigns him the responsibility of collecting rent from his renters. Henry has to get a shilling extra with Archbug's unwelcome help. And he can anticipate getting his head on a pike like the last Bladier if he doesn't return with the extra cash. A tenant who is upset about the rent increase punches Henry, and it turns out that this Sassenach is capable of throwing up. As he is taken to the trenches of World War I, Henry goes into fight mode in a fit of PTSD and engages a few Highlanders. The only thing that pulls him out of it is his St. Anthony necklace, which Julia gave him following a prior PTSD episode. He has another flashback later that night, and the only thing that helps him is to caress Julia's necklace and sing, "Take me back to dear old Blighty," the way Julia used to. Henry does get an idea from the memories of Julia. In order to offer the Grant renters some optimism, he plans to start a lottery in which they can win a ticket to live rent-free for the following year with whatever extra money they pay now. The tenants are motivated by the plan, but Mr. Bug keeps undermining Henry. Man, Mr. Bug is awful. In the meantime, Julia and Brian had been traveling by car. Brian has brought Julia to Castle Leoch to deliver a message to Lady Ellen, knowing that she was lying about her rash. Julia acknowledges that she might simply go into Castle Leoch and never come out again because she is pregnant. However, Brian gives her a buddy and protection, which is something of value. If he can help her permanently leave Castle Leathers, she pledges to do him a favor. Following some deception with Mrs. Fitz, Julia slips into Ellen's chamber. Ellen acts as though she has no idea who Brian Fraser is, but she quickly gains Ellen's trust after Julia reveals that she is serving as the bridge, which is where these two Scottish lovers first met covertly at the gathering. Ellen has a commitment to Malcolm that, if the faeries have their way, she will be locked in a dance with him for 100 years, at Beltane, despite her love for Brian. Julia is intrigued by this, and for good reason. In the world of Outlander, Beltane is a significant day. It is a magical day when time travel is made simpler and the barrier between the living and the dead is weakened. Additionally, Ellen affirms that they will be commemorating Beltane at the Inverness Standing Stones that took Julia and Henry back in time. Brian and Ellen reunite after Julia persuades Ellen to meet him outside. Start holding hands. They affirm that they will always love each other, but haven't they just spoken to each other twice? These two are quick.